Sir Walter Harry Williams about the power of storytelling, that we have the ability to create a new story and how that can change our lives. And our next guest is Michelle Geldenhuys. And Michelle is an author, a writer, a self-mastery guide, and that she has come up with a brand name called Spirit Quest. And we're going to be talking a little bit more about that and how we can change our world through the words that we use. Michelle, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, Nikki. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
It's great to have you on the show, Michelle, especially when I look at self-mastery. This is really, we talk about the uncertain times. So the certainty which we have our finger on is how we deal with ourselves and our ability to master ourselves. We have to go internally. Is this what you're going to be talking about? Is this what you focus on?
Yes, Nikki. First and foremost, I'm a writer, and I'm very passionate about using our words to change the world. What I'd like to talk about today is self-mastery guidance that I offer in session work. And really this encompasses the notion of mastering our emotions. Just as one would master any skill in this life, it's about becoming aware of our emotions and also our reactions that arise from these emotions. Inevitably, our emotions and the reactions that arise from those emotions are what creates and shapes our reality. So what we really are doing is mastering our reality. And so I guide people on how to tailor these reactions to the life they truly want, turning unconscious reactions into conscious reactions. So I guide you in acknowledging and embracing your shadow or unrecognized trauma, because going into these unwanted emotions and feelings, in going into them, we accept them and integrate them so as to become whole beings as opposed to split apart beings. And in this wholeness, we unlock our true potential, our true selves, and inevitably unlock our true destiny. And also in these sessions, if there are messages that desire to come through from one's spirit guides or higher self, I allow myself to become the messenger for those messages. So yes, that's the work I do in a nutshell, Nikki.
Very interesting, Michelle. Let's take a break, and after the break, let's break it down, how it is that we get to master that which is not always easy to master, and that are the emotions and arising in us. So a quick break, Michelle, and we'll continue after the break.
Magician done, face painting done, soccer party done. Tired of the same old party entertainment for your kids year on year? Be the first to offer something different and exclusive to better any party you've had before. With Mikelo's new sushi making party, kids can learn the art of designing their very own special sushi creation while they sip a delicious shake on our new obstacle jungle gym and climbing walls. It's the perfect party at the perfect place. Bring the family and have fun by eating the best pizza in town. Mikelo's. Shalom, I'm Nissim.
And I'm Liz.
We are so excited to introduce you to our off-the-street deli and fine food store.
Israel, on your doorstep.
The tastiest chillers.
Israeli ice cream.
Frozen falafel.
Zagreb vegetarian products and Angel Bakery pastries.
And even Materna baby food Halav Israel.
And much more. Pop in for a casual cup of coffee. 17 Ann Street, Sandringham. Off the strip.
Off the strip, proud sponsors of Coffee to Deal a Link.
High FM, 101.9 megahertz of life.
And it's a chilly Thursday afternoon in Joburg, although quite a bit warmer than yesterday. I'm Nikki Severini, and this is the DLB show where we connect you to insights, information, and illumination. And it certainly is interesting times, and we've spoken about this week in and week out, bringing you experts to help you navigate these new waters, so to speak. And, if I have to share my ups and downs, there are days when I feel so positive, and I feel that I'm learning so much about myself and the resilience and the adaptability. And then there are days when I just feel, I'm not sure how long I can go on for. And it has everything to do with what I'm thinking, and then the feelings come up. And what I'm alluding to really is just this kind of roller coaster ride that we're up and then we're down. And, Are we going to live our lives on the roller coaster, or do we start to steer that roller coaster? Well, our guest today, Michelle Geldenhuys, is talking about just that, mastering our reactions, our emotions, from unconscious reactions to conscious reactions. And I suppose that would help us, instead of it being the roller coaster up and down, to have more of a steady ride. So, Michelle, when we stopped for the break, I said, how does one get to mastering one's emotions when we're living in a time where it's so up and down? We just don't know what's going to be playing out. What do you have to say to that?
Yes, Nikki, well, we definitely are in roller coaster times. So where I'd like to begin is to say that we cannot help the emotions that arise within us. They are there to teach us. And what we've been taught for a very long time is to alienate or deny our uncomfortable emotions. And whereas we should be embracing those emotions and feeling them for all that they are, because once we acknowledge and accept those emotions, they no longer have control over us. So what we're really doing is mastering our reactions to those emotions, because once we are aware of how we're reacting, that is where we can change our reality. So really all it is about is seeing ourselves as whole and perfect as we are, and not saying to ourselves that we are broken or damaged and those sort of things. It's also about becoming aware of the language that we use with ourselves. It's very important that our internal language is kind and gentle and loving towards ourselves, just as we would want to be treated by someone else. It's mastering our self-awareness, mindfulness, and also self-love.
Wow. Okay. So let's talk about these emotions, these feelings which come up in us. They create these emotions. They then change the way we act and who we are in the world. And you mentioned a shadow self. So can we go there on our own, Michelle?
Yes, absolutely, we can do that. Sometimes we need a little bit of guidance in the beginning, just as I needed in my life. And feelings such as guilt and shame and things like that come up, we often want to turn away from it because it's extremely uncomfortable. But once we find that we go into those emotions and really sitting with them, and that's where meditation comes in. I always push on meditation, and it's really just sitting with those feelings and let them come up and arise and how can I say, dance in our energy. And it's in that we create awareness. And there are many tools people can use for this. We can write down our feelings, we can start a blog, or we can use music. Music is a wonderful way of going into our emotions. So it's really embracing that which we previously were running from, to put it into that context. Am I making sense, Nikki?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So if we're dealing 100%, Michelle, so if we're dealing with a feeling that comes up and you just don't know why it's there, you don't know why it's there, you don't know where it's from, do you need to locate it to source, or just by allowing it to flow, it moves?
It is important to understand where these emotions are coming from, and every single one of us has experienced trauma in our lives, every single one of us. And it's going into those traumatic experiences and revisiting those experiences. And that's why I say it's important to have a guide in the beginning, because it's important to see these experiences from a different angle. And having a different perspective on these experiences, because although they were traumatic experiences, they inevitably birth who we are, and we become stronger and more enlightened and through these experiences, which is where wisdom comes in. So it's learning to look at these experiences that were once extremely uncomfortable and seeing them as a catalyst for spiritual growth.
Okay, wow. Okay, fantastic. So let's go back to some of the tips for our listeners, Michelle. People who are listening right now who want to be able to master their emotions and their reactions. You've spoken about writing things down, blogging, using music. What else would you suggest to our listeners to taking steps to being able to master one's emotions?
Okay, so number one, it is first looking at oneself as being whole and not denying these emotions and seeing and understanding that they are there for a reason. Secondly, I would suggest that everyone finds a guide in the field of shadow work or spiritual guidance, just to get the ball rolling. Like I said, to see things from a different perspective, which we often are blocked to. So I would definitely suggest that. And then there are many teachers out there that are who provide their teachings free of charge on YouTube. And some of the teachers that have helped me on my path is Eckhart Tolle or Matt Kahn or Teal Swan. They're all wonderful teachers that are available on the internet. So finding literature to read, watching videos, and yes, these are all things that can help us on that path.
Okay, fantastic. Love that. So let's talk about the power of words. We started off with our professor talking about creating the story and then actual storytelling. What is it about words that we can change, that we can introduce new ways of using words, or certainly being aware of the habitual words that we use that can create magic in our world?
Right, and I love the word that you used there, magic, because it's one of my favorite words. It's understanding that words are energy. Everything is energy, but words are energy, and it's understanding that, in fact, that's why they call it spelling. It's almost casting spells. We are casting spells in the world and in ourselves with the words that we use. So it's using positive, encouraging, enlightening words around us and to other people. Of course, now if you look on social media and in the news and that, there's a lot of negative stories going along, and we're in a very roller coaster sort of time, and it's turning this situation that we all find ourselves in into a positive situation. The things that we share on social media, for example, let's share positive stories. Let's share how things are changing in a positive way. Let's look at the magic that is around us. Let's look at the good that's happening around us and create stories around that. And also realizing that our lives up until this very point is a narrative. It's a story that we've told. There's a story that we tell people over and over again, and we need to look at that story. Is it a positive story that we are telling, or is it a negative story that we are telling? How do we feel about the story that we are telling about our lives when we are telling it? And let's change that story. It's literally, it sounds easier than what it might be, but in fact, once you do it, it's actually very easy, and it's actually writing your story down and looking at the story and going, okay, I'm going to change that story from today, and rewriting that story and retelling that story, making yourself the hero and not the victim.
Okay, Michelle, we're going to take a break. We'll continue after the break.
Oxygen is essential for the well-being of your body. It speeds healing, relieves pain, inflammation, and treats infections. If you are looking to speed up recovery from conditions such as fibromyalgia, arthritis, wounds, headaches, migraines, burns, ulcers, injuries, and neurological diseases, among others, come to Oxygenate. For more information, visit www.oxygenate.co.za. Multiple locations nationwide.
Postnet Geldenhuys is your convenient one-stop shop for all your small office requirements. We offer the following services: copy and print in color and black and white, wide format printing on paper or canvas of pictures, plans and posters, business cards and flyers, IDs and regular photos for passport and visas, international and local courier service with DHL, binding and laminating services. Pop in and see how we can help you. Postnet Geldenhuys.
Hi FM, 101.9 megahertz of life.
This is the Deal Link show that you are tuned to, where we connect you through insights, information, and illumination. And today we've been focusing on the power of words and storytelling and your story and what is your story. So very interesting. Our current guest, Michelle Geldenhuys, is talking about the power of words, the words that we use, and also writing down and being kind of the hero in your own story instead of being the victim in your story. So, Michelle, we've kind of delved into a few areas. We looked at self-mastery, we looked at emotions, looking at your reactions, the shadow self, which we haven't really gone into detail with because I know you're going to be with someone. But when you're looking at a story, so these incidents, these things that have happened to us in our past, they've helped create these stories that we have. You spoke about the importance of letting the emotion, connecting with the emotion.
Yes.
Is there sometimes a danger in looking at positive words and positive stories as suppressing the original emotion as opposed to releasing? How do we find the balance with allowing emotion to release and being positive and using positive words and imagery, etc., at the same time?
Yes, Nikki, I'm great. I'm happy that you brought that up. So there is a danger in immersing ourselves only in the positive, because like I've said before, it's integrating everything and seeing ourselves as whole with the negative and positive parts. And I don't like using those words because it sort of gives the impression that some things are wrong and some things are right, and everything.
Yeah.
So everything is part of the whole. So of course, being positive all the time is impossible. But it's becoming aware of how we are driving our reality. So it's becoming aware of the words that we are using. And it's not that we only need to use positive words. It's about being authentic in the way that, okay, this is me. This is who I am. I've experienced X, Y, and Z. And I do have these uncomfortable emotions that run through me, but I'm no longer denying them or alienating them. They are part of me. And using, how can I say, uplifting language within ourselves and in the world around us, but also remembering to keep an air of authenticity and keeping the space open for people to bring their true selves to the table. So when somebody brings up, an uncomfortable conversation, or they want to discuss something that's deep and painful for them, it's opening the space for that. It's holding space for people, and not only for other people, for yourself as well, to be everything that you are, but realizing that diving too deeply into the darker emotions can begin to affect your reality, and also diving too much into all the positive stuff is going to split yourself away from another part of yourself. So it's really finding the balance in between, but realizing how much our words do affect our reality, but also in that remaining authentic and whole within ourselves and holding space for ourselves and others to be who they are and to not deny parts of themselves.
Okay, Michelle. So let me summarize and get my understanding of what you said, and please feel free to correct me, just so for our audience we get away. So if I think of our previous guest, the professor also spoke about emotions and stories, and what he mentioned a lot was being still and doing things with intention and attention. And I think that's what you're saying as well. You're saying there's not good or bad, and there's not right or wrong. It's being aware of the negative side, the difficulty, the struggles, and being aware of the positive and the light. So it's not negating the one, it's allowing them to flow. It's being aware of sometimes the negative difficult emotions and allowing it, so not turning your back on it, allowing it to flow, and being very conscious when you are thinking of words, when you are telling your story, that you're looking at I suppose with any situation you can extract a negative or positive. So you're saying just be aware of extracting the positive without turning your back on the negative. So it's finding that balance. Is that basically what you're saying?
100%, Nikki. 100%. Perfect. Yes, that's exactly it.
Fantastic. I just want to share. I came across something that said words so powerful. They can crush a heart or heal it. They can shame a soul or liberate it. They can shatter dreams or energize them. They can obstruct connection or invite it. They can create defenses or melt them. We have to use words wisely. And I think basically that's what you're saying. Be awake and be aware of what you're saying and what you're thinking and believing.
Absolutely, Nikki. I love that you just read, that you just quoted. Now, it's beautiful. Yes, absolutely, that's it.
Fantastic. Well, Michelle, thank you so much. And I presume if people want to get hold of you, they can do it via your website, which is michellegeldenhuys.com.
Yes, Nikki. It's Michelle, and then the first letter of my middle name, which is Lana. So it's michellegeldenhuys.com.
Wonderful. Michelle, thank you so much for your time today. We do appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Nikki. Have a wonderful day.
Take care. Thank you. And bye-bye. So